Hello, my name's Steven, and I'm just your average Joe home mechanic, and the topic here is how to seed or pull a wheel stud or a lug nut stud, whatever you want to call it. This is the new wheel stud. The old one has been removed. Tap it with a hammer to get it out of there. Goal here is getting the new one in square and straight and grooves lined up and all that. I saw another video of a guy who was doing this, a mechanic online, and he used the nut from a CV joint, and that may work just fine if you have the nut from a CV joint, but I'm not a mechanic, I don't have one, they don't sell one. So I wanted to do this with stuff I could just buy at the local hardware store, and that it was the goal. The trick here is to do it without damaging the lug nut. So, the first one I did, the lug nut, and I don't know if you can see the damage to the thread there because the lug nut was pushing against the surface, and ultimately the base of this lug nut got kind of chewed up. And I wanted to do it without chewing up the base of the lug nut. And what I came across, the solution I used was a bunch of washers and one of these rings I got from the chain section of the hardware store. I've already used this one. You can see it's even a little bent out from its original shape, but that's no problem. It's still going to work for us. Like I said, I got some of these washers. These are the biggest ones they had, 5/8 inch. If they had even bigger ones, 3/4, I would have bought it. But the key is that the washer fits all the way down on the stud. If it were smaller and got caught on any part of the stud, then that stud would get seated into the washer when it comes through the other side. So let's go ahead and do this. The first thing we want to do is spray a little lube in there. Lubricant will help this just seat in there as well as possible. Get the grooves lined up. You can feel it lining up, and then put some washers on here. It might take a different number of washers for you than for me. It depends on the length of your stud. And I'm going to go ahead and put 4 washers on. And I'll put my ring on there. It'd be ideal if that were just a actual pure ring as opposed to that chain piece, but so then I'm just going to get it squared away in there. Now, if this ring were hanging loose, that would tell me that the lug nut was actually pushing against the washer as opposed to against the ring, but that is not the case. The other thing I need here, depending on if you've got on the wheel drive you have, and on whether or not your vehicle is whether you've got it all the way jacked up, you may or may not need a crowbar to keep the wheel from turning. So you can see I'm already starting to seed that, and you can see how, because that thing's pushing there tight, we know that the pressure is on the ring and not on the base of that lug nut. And there's my wheel starting to turn. I got my crowbar in there, keeping it from turning any farther. So I can see the stud is seating. I just keep on turning here and pulling that stud all the way in. And I'm getting close now. Let's flip this around so we can back out. There we go. And this is almost off now. And there's the beauty. The lug nut is still perfectly good shape. The threads haven't been distorted. All my parts come off. You see the stud is in there perfect, and no problem. The threads haven't been distorted. shredded at all. There's no chewing of the threads and no chewing of the lug nut. In my opinion, that is the best way to do it.